Welcome to Let's Chat with Julie, Lewin and the Spirit Talk series, where we delve into the realms of intuition, energy and spiritual awakening, uncovering the wisdom that resides within each of us and the universe at large. I'm your host, Julie Lewin. Thank you for joining us. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Chat with Julie Lewin. And today I have what I hope is a new friend, Xavier Roman. Xavier, thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to have this conversation with you because you have had this ability for a very long time. You're a healer. You don't even need to speak to people. Well, you don't need to facilitate. You just go into this zone and you tune into source energy and you do it. So I am looking forward to this conversation. So welcome to our podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it all. This is going to be a good one, I think.
I think so. So look, so that my community gets to know a little bit about you before we get into the nitty-gritty, do you just want to share a little bit about your story?
Sure.
Then we can go deeper.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it all started when I was like 5 years old. Well, not like when I was actually 5. I had been, there's a neighborhood park around by my house. And I had seen this mom and this child. They were crying across the street, directly across the street from me. I was in one corner and they are on another corner. And as a 5-year-old, you kind of get a little shooken, and you see adult crying and a little kid, and the little kid was on the mom's hip, with his arms around her, and she was crying too. And I was like, wow, you're like, oh my God, like maybe I could help them out. And for some odd reason, I thought that, and I was like, you know what, I really want to go ahead and help them. And so I said, I'm going to help them, and I closed my eyes and I put my head down, and I didn't know what attention was back then,
Yeah.
but that's just what I wanted to do. And so I went ahead, and when I closed my eyes and opened them up after, having my intention to want to go ahead and help them, I opened my eyes, and it probably took about maybe 2 seconds, maybe 3, but I just remember them looking up, the mom looking one way, and she just stopped, and the little boy, he stopped too. And he was looking around, but he still had his arm on her hips, but he's just like,
what was that? What happened?
And that was my thought too. That was my first thought. Like, what was that? Like, what happened?
I don't know if you can see, but the hairs on my arms are like a quarter
I
of
can
an
see it.
inch.
Yeah, I see it.
I'm covered in goosebumps.
Yeah, and you know what? And my immediate thought was like, did I do that? Like, they just stopped so quick, and I was like, wow, did they do that? And I had, thinking like a child, like, well, maybe I'm a superhero.
Yeah.
Maybe I have superpowers, oh well, as long as they stopped, this and that. So I didn't share it with nobody. I didn't share it with nobody. So then, I went about it, and so forth. And I just, throughout the day, I just thought like, oh, that was cool. What if I did that? What if I really did that? What if I had I had other crazy thoughts, what if I had a cape? What if, I could get bad guys, stuff like that. Those are all the silly thoughts the child thoughts that went through my mind. But then I said, I've got to do that again. I really got to do that again. And as we went to like doctor's offices, as I went with my mom, I would look around at medical centers, that we were in, and I would look to see like who's the one that's hurling over, not just there for an appointment, but they're sitting for the appointment where we're sitting, but they're like in agony and pain or something like that. And then I would pick them out real quick, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get that one. And so then I would go ahead and put my head down and do the same thing, and then, I had that intention, like I want to see them get better. And then I would like see them getting better, and I would open my eyes and they would do the same thing. They would like,
what's going on?
Yeah. And then
Can I ask a question, Xavier?
Sure.
When you would put your head down and do your intention, Did you actually see a movie rolling in your mind of the intention, or was it more like a prayer? How did that happen?
Um, I would see myself putting them like in a white light. Yeah, I would see myself putting them in a white light because that was what I seen the first time with the
Uh-huh.
mom and the kid, and
Yeah.
then I did that. It just happened every time. Like, um, I don't know at the time that if I did that, it's just like that was just the how to do it.
Mhm.
Like something just like do you're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And then I would see them. So like if I was at the example I'm giving now, if I was at the medical center and I seen that person hurling over and then they popped up and then they looked around like wow, like oh my God, they did it. Oh, and they almost had the look after a while, like looking at the rush, like why am I here? Like I'm not gonna be here. And I've also witnessed that too, where we would be
Yeah.
at appointments and then they would like, they would get back and they wouldn't be in pain and then they would go to the office, hey, you know what, I'm gonna leave and I'll be like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
child, like
Yeah.
yeah, wow,
I get that. Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah.
had
So
that with my daughter. She used to do this thing where she would bandage a part of her body playing, and I'd say, "Are you okay?" She said, "Oh yeah, I'm just playing doctors and nurses." And in 24 hours, the thing that she bandaged, I would be like, has she broken it? And I remember I would do healing on her, and then I took her to the hospital one time. They had to bring the wheelchair out, get her out of the car, put her in the wheelchair, and then we waited like 3 hours to see the doctor. By the time we got to see the doctor, she was fine. And I went to triage and I said, look, I think my daughter's fine and I'll just take her home. And then
yeah,
the nurse said, no, no, no. You've come here. We're not allowed to let you leave until you see the doctor. And I went, oh, okay. So we went in and saw the doctor and I said, look, I'm really embarrassed. I did some healing on her and I didn't think it was working, but it seems to have worked. So I think we should just go home now. She said, oh, no, tell me more. So we chatted for 20 minutes. I said, look, there's really sick kids out there. We should go. She said, no, I need a break. And it was like my daughter would get the premonition and do the bandage before the accident.
uh,
And then it kind of was all back to front. And but I get what you mean about, oh, I'm feeling good now. We can just go home.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
anyway, I interrupted. So keep
No, no,
going.
no, you can interrupt that. That was cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that would happen, at doctor's offices.
Mhm.
I would like to go with my mom to the doctors, even if she had to go for herself. I would always like, hey, hey, let me go, let me go. But I didn't like when I was going, it was for me. So like, let's say if it was for like, you needed stuff for school, like immunizations, and I would be like, no, I don't need that, mom. Like that's bad. That's bad. Like, and she was like,
Yeah.
what do you mean? You need it for school, I says, no, 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 no. Like, look, it's something's telling me, it's bad and this and that.
Yeah.
She's, what's telling you? I wouldn't open up and say, but I was like, no, 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 that's bad. That's poison. That's,
Uh-huh.
whatever, that's the first thing that would come out so, I
That's so interesting, Xavier, because as a child, like a young child, like 6, 7, 8, I made myself the most sick with worry when I knew that an immunization was coming up.
yes.
And I couldn't sleep at night. I kept saying to my mom, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. But I still did. But I knew that that wasn't what I wanted. So there's some similarities in our stories as well. Yeah. So keep going.
And even when I would go into doctor's offices and if it was for me, and I would see like billboards of I guess they were patients. They had to be patients of patients' pictures of other
Uh-huh.
little kids. And I would look at that like, okay, that happened to him. Oh, that happened to him. Says, no, oh my God, these guys are all here because they come so regularly because they're so sick or they have these issues from this. Like, that's why they're on that board. It's not because, the doctor is special or this and that. And I didn't have nothing against doctors. That was just, I would look
Yeah.
at the pictures like, oh no, that's
Yeah.
how that would come out. And it wasn't hard keeping it in and just holding it to myself and not telling the soul, that I had a
Mm.
heartbeat.
Yeah, so
But
talk to me about that. Like you didn't tell anyone?
nobody, not a soul. Like, not, yeah, I just didn't want to. I don't know what I may have came across something on TV where someone I couldn't even name you the show, but I'm saying it could have happened where I seen somebody they called somebody crazy and so forth. Some kind of show like that I
Yeah.
seen. I was like, that's never going to be me.
Yeah, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and so I didn't say nothing, and that went on for forever. That went on
Yeah.
forever. I didn't. I wasn't gonna tell a friend because I didn't want a friend to think I was crazy. I
Yeah.
wasn't gonna tell a family member because I didn't want to be the weirdo of the family.
Uh-huh.
I definitely wasn't gonna tell my mom because she would have just been like, "You're crazy, boy,"
Mhm.
something like that. So yeah, I just
So
wasn't saying.
you were on this silent journey of just basically sending intention to anyone you saw that wasn't well, like they clearly had something going on, and you sent them white light and they basically received the frequency,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
and they looked
definitely.
around to see what even happened.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I just as a child, I just thought I would look at them. A matter of fact, right now while I'm looking at you, if I look to my left, it seems like old projections of when I was a child. Like if I'm in the office right now and I could see those, like as if it comes in a movie and they
Exactly, exactly,
they date
my
back in
same,
time. Yeah,
same,
they date.
same,
Yeah,
just here.
they
Yeah,
date back in time, and the movie in my head, the scene in my head, it goes back to that in time, the clothes and everything,
uh-huh,
and so that's how I feel right now. That's how I look at it.
yeah,
Uh, yeah. So then that went on and on and on. And then at times I would just be like, uh, I wouldn't think about it because I'd be so involved with sports and so forth that I really wouldn't think of it. And then through grammar school, uh, I would do it, like if we went to like a doctor's visit and so forth, I would do it with people, as I was in grammar school, a little bit older.
yeah,
Uh, I wouldn't say that in high school. I definitely wouldn't speak a word of it. But what I did do, I remember this did happen a couple of times. I was at a bus stop,
mhm,
uh, getting off one bus to transfer to the next bus to go home. And I remember one guy in particular. He was like around where the bus stop was. He was limping around it, and you see he had a cane and so forth. And I told the guy, I said, hey, let me try to fix your leg. He's like, what? He had a Spanish accent because around that area of the neighborhood, it was predominantly Hispanic.
mhm,
So what do you mean? He's telling me because I could hear the voice right now. And I said, I have special power. I
yeah,
says, I don't even need to like grab you. I
yeah,
says, "Now, might put my hand right around that area where I see you are." I said, "Where is it?" He's like, "Oh, it's my knee,
uh-huh,
and right here, by my hip." I said, "Okay." And he's like, "What do you mean? What are you talking about, kid? Like, almost like, what the hell's wrong with you?" Like, I
yeah,
says, "Hey, listen, well, just give me small moment. We're here anyway. We gotta wait for the bus."
yeah,
And he laughed. Go ahead. And then he sat down, and I did it, and then I came out of it. I said, "How do you feel?" And he's like, Says, I don't know. He says, I felt something like
Yeah.
going through. He says it felt like waves, and
Uh-huh.
he says, yeah. I said, well, I said, stand up. I says, come on, let's see how you walk. Like, let's see.
Yeah.
If it works, I mean, that's fine. If not, I mean, like, well, we're still waiting for the bus,
Uh-huh.
He's like, and he got up and he got up, a little bit different, he said. He says, yeah, I don't get up there that good. And he started walking around. Man, he's like, and he kept walking and he's smiling. And he says, what, his words, what the hell was that? And
Uh-huh.
I was like, it's this thing that I have, where I could help people and help them get better. I
Mhm.
said, so I just thought I, give you a try and try to help you out.
Yeah.
He's like, he's just numb for a while.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, I've been having this for years.
Wow.
Who the hell are you? What's your mom's name? What's your dad's name? He says, you got to give me your phone number and your address. I said, no, 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 no. I said, no, no, we can't do that. I says, I just wanted to go ahead and help you out. I says, but like, I don't like to do that. I got uncomfortable real quick and I says, no. I says, hey, the good thing is that you're okay. He says, no, no, come here, kid. You gotta give me your number. And I
Mm.
says, no, it's okay. Don't worry about it. What's your address? Then he started walking towards it. I was like, no, no, no. I said, you know what? I gotta go. And so I just left. I went to the other bus stop because there's two different buses I could have took. And I says, you know what? I'm gonna take the other bus. And I
Y-
just I
Yeah.
just left. And I remember him yelling down the street, hey, come back here. And I was like, no,
So
I'm
did
not.
that moment change your life? Like, did that was that a pivotal moment for you?
Um, it kind of was because it kind of freaked me out a little bit.
Mm.
That a person would kind of come after me,
Yeah.
but he didn't come after me. But like he was real loud, and it kind of like, oh my god, like this is embarrassing. Like, come on,
Yeah.
like
So he brought attention to you.
yeah, it brought
Yeah.
attention, and I didn't want no attention. I didn't really
Yeah.
want any attention. I just wanted him to get better, and that was good
Yeah.
enough for me.
Yeah.
And so, after that, I was like, "Oh my god, I'm not going to that bus stop anymore. I'm gonna stay at the other one just in case that guy comes back." And so I went to the other stop for months,
Wow.
instead of going to that one,
Yeah,
just in
yeah.
case, because I said I could imagine. I says, and I felt something like he's gonna keep going back there. I says, I know he is. I'm not.
Looking for you. Yeah.
He'll give up after a few months. I says, okay, I'm gonna stay away for a few months.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so then, things went on and so forth. Yeah, and
I
then,
have a quick question about this age. When your puberty hit, did anything change when the hormones came in at puberty?
no, not that I know.
That's
No,
awesome. Yeah. Yeah.
no,
That's great. Because
yeah.
a lot of things change for people when puberty with the hormone surges. So no, that's really good to know.
I could feel that, as you say it, like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. People may, not that I know and not that I thought about it, maybe people will snap out of it or something like that,
Yeah.
or something, like that. I
Yeah.
mean, but I never even thought about that. Yeah.
No. So then you went to, did you go to college or did
Oh,
you?
yes, yes, yes. I
Yeah.
definitely went to college, and I played sports. I played baseball while I was in college,
Yeah.
throughout my collegiate years and so forth. And I kept away from it, but I did find myself taking classes that were leaning towards healing in some way. So
Ah,
the classes that I did take were predominantly that I liked out of all of them, and it wasn't my major, was physical therapy.
right.
It's sports
Right.
medicine. It's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
sports. So I did those classes for a while, and then I felt like no, this is not the way. Like
Yeah.
internally, I
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
told them, this isn't the way. This is so slow. Like
Oh,
I
yeah.
you know, why would you want to do it this way? Like,
Yeah.
ice and doing rehab exercises. Well, I mean, which I see now, the benefits of that. But I was
Mm.
like, man, if I could just, and so I would, while I was in the offices, and the athletes would come in, and I was an athlete myself, but when we weren't in season, I would just sit down, and some of the guys would come in, they were hurt, even the women, they would come in, they're hurt, and I'd just sit back and just pretend I was taking a nap.
Hmm.
And I would just do the same thing, and then, like, hey, so and so, how you feeling? How do you feel? This and that. Says, you know what? I think that ice helped. I says, really? Wow, like that thing's black and blue. I says, I okay, good. Like, yeah, like, come on, you really think that
That's
ice helped?
awesome. I actually
So,
want to share a story with you. My husband and son played baseball as well here in Australia, and
okay,
they had the World Masters Games here up, I don't know how long ago, maybe 30 years ago.
I
And
remember. Yeah,
you do remember?
yeah, yeah.
Um, and we had a guy from Boston, I think he was. And anyway, he slid into third and he tore his hamstring from his butt to the back of his knee, like he could
Oof.
not stand on that leg.
Yeah.
And I called my husband over and I said, I can fix that. Because it was day one of the World Masters. He'd come
Uh,
all the way from the US. He wanted to have a good time. And I said, I can fix that. Just invite him for dinner and ask him if he wants me to fix it. And like he couldn't even straighten his leg. And you know how the bruise goes black and purple and yellow and all the colors. Anyhow, I don't do my work the way you do. I put my hands on and then I did the movie and I imagined it all healing back up. It took maybe 20 minutes. So I'm not as fast as what you were doing either. And I said, tell me how it feels. And he stood up. He started doing knee lunges. You know
mm,
what a knee lunge is. He said, oh
yeah,
my God.
definitely.
He said, it's better. And he went back the next day and he played the rest of the World
Oh,
Masters
that
games.
is so cool.
I
Oh,
know,
man.
I know. It's
Wow.
amazing what
Yes.
the mind can do.
He had to be freaked out for the longest of years.
I know.
Years, years. I could, yeah, I could see that. Like, he had to
Yeah.
been like, he's probably still lost. That story probably will never leave him. Like,
Do you know what? What I was so happy about was that he allowed me to do it.
yeah,
He
definitely.
his okay, that's too weird was overridden by I want to play in the rest of the World Masters games.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Yeah, definitely. It's almost like being an Olympian. You train for 48 years, and you're like, wait, on my first try, my first play, I get hurt, and now I'm done for the other 7 days. Like,
yeah,
no, no,
yeah,
there's no way. And
yeah.
so that did what you said. It overrode, him being like, this is weird. Like save the weirdness for later. I want to play, and
Yeah.
like, yeah, because
And
stuff like that needs to be repaired surgically.
exactly. And in the same day, my husband got hit in the ribs at the back by, you know, how fast the baseball goes. He just crumpled to the ground and he said to everyone, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I just have to go and see my wife. And I put my hand on it, I don't know, 5 minutes. And then he just went like this and he said, okay, I'm good to go again. And they said,
Mm.
dude, are you okay? And he said, yeah. My wife just did something. And he said, I'm good. He didn't even get a bruise.
Oh wow, cool.
And
Yeah.
so they were all a little bit blown away. But at that time, I was a bit like you. I didn't want people to know what I
Mhm.
was doing. I
Yeah.
just wanted to be
Yeah.
able to do it and
Yeah. Because something
keep
like that, you
going.
have to bruise. Yeah, you have
Yeah,
to
yeah,
bruise.
yeah. Yeah, well, if you've
Definitely.
been hit by a baseball going like from the bat, you know how hard that ball's going.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, I've had those. Yeah. Um. Okay. So where did I leave off at?
We were at college, you were playing baseball.
Oh yeah, at college, I just never really did anything.
Yeah.
far as with that, other than being in the training room.
Uh-huh.
Um, then as I got in my 20s,
What
then I
did you
just
graduate? Like when you graduated, did you do sports medicine?
no, I didn't. No, I
Oh,
didn't.
okay.
I have bachelor's in arts, but yeah, I wasn't with that
Yeah.
at all because I was leaning more towards education,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, that was it. I never did nothing as far as with that. It actually it disinterested me
Oh,
because of the how slow it was,
yeah.
and the small rehab and so forth. It was just like no, like it was just like no, this is a moneymaker. It felt like to me, at the time, and
Yeah.
I had no clue about business and moneymaker, and the
Yeah.
keeping their doctor's offices and through their medical protocols so long and so forth. And again, nothing against medicine, but that was just my feeling at the
Uh-huh.
time. So I got what I needed. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after you left college and you went
Yes.
into the workforce?
Yeah. Actually, I went into the workforce, and I did a little bit of teaching, very little.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then after that, then I went into a little bit of business. But I still never really did anything with that. As far as with the healing and so forth,
Yeah.
unless again, like as if I was at a medical office, and I would always scan people around. But then I started like, you know what? Hey, I should really ask these people, because I'm more aware now, But then I was like, on to flashback to what happened at that bus stop, and so
Yeah.
forth. No, I don't want them. They'll make a scene because they'll think that this shouldn't happen. Like, what did you do?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah, and they'll,
Yeah.
you know, all the stuff that
And
comes along.
and I know exactly what you're talking about. I went on that TV show, The Extraordinary, where they filmed me telling people in other cities what I thought was wrong with them. And they had a camera crew with me and a camera crew with the other people. And after that, my husband went to the post office, would ring him and say, "You've got to come and get your mail." And they'd give him a sack full of mail. And my phone didn't stop ringing. And so it is overwhelming with people thinking that you're their last hope. Is that kind of the feeling that you got?
Um, no, I mean, I get that feeling now. I get that feeling now. I
Right.
get that feeling because I didn't get that feeling back then because I didn't open myself up to letting
Okay.
anyone know.
Yeah.
But over the last year, I do get that feeling now at times and so forth. I
So
do get that.
is it just a year since you went public?
It's actually just over a year, probably like about
Wow.
a year and a month and so forth.
Yep.
And and even before I went ahead and started, I've been meaning to do it for probably like about 5, 6 years
Yep.
before I started, and I just couldn't do it, I just couldn't do it. And
Okay. I
then
want to talk about this. Did it, how much courage did it take for you to go public?
my God, the thoughts of as like, oh my, here come the comments, and I
Oh,
could hear and feel the comments. It's like, oh my God, I says, even especially the people who know me or knew of me or known me past 10, 20, 30 years, my family,
yeah.
like, oh, my family. But I did remember before going into it. I says, well, you know what? If my family does hear this, one of my family members is gonna know. And one of the big things that happened to me in 2005 was my mom, she got into automobile accident. If you've seen in my bio, she got into automobile accident. And before that accident, I remember that my sister, my younger sister, she was sick one time, in my mom's house, and she was laying next to my mom and so forth. And I just went in there. Hey, what's wrong? My mom's like, hey, leave her alone. She's sick and this and that. And I'm like, you want to get better? She's like, what are you talking about? And me and her, we talk to each other like funny mean.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you want to get better now? And she's like, shut up. Like, what are you talking about? I says, it's just a yes or no. Do you want to get better? Yes or no? She's like, whatever. I was like, all right, then I guess I won't. She's like, yes. I was like, what are you gonna go get? I says, just sit here. So while they were both laying in the bed, I went to the living room. I sat down and I did that, closed my eyes, went back over there, probably like about, I don't know, 3 minutes later, 4 minutes. And then I walked in, I'm just standing up, looking at TV while they're laying down looking at TV. And I didn't say nothing. And then I said, hey, how do you feel? And she's looking at TV. She's like, I feel better.
Hmm.
And then my mom's like, look, see? And she's like, what did you do, weirdo? What did you do? I was like, got you better. That's all that counts. She's like, what did you do? I says, doesn't really matter what I did. I
Yeah.
says, all that counts is that you're better. That's all that really counts, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, her face is just like, because she was in pain, I guess her stomach and her head and so forth.
Hmm.
So she like in that kind of pain, and it went away. And then I was like, hey, as long as you're better, like this and that. And I didn't answer no questions. I just said, okay, I gotta go. And then my mom was like, hey, aren't you gonna tell him thanks? Why don't you tell him thanks? Maybe he did a prayer for you.
Hmm.
And she's like, yeah, I guess, thanks. I was like, okay, thanks. That's all I get is, that's you're gonna say it like that. Like I said, okay, because that's how we talk to each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just left, and I was like, "Phew, man, luckily she didn't stay on that and keep on asking questions
Yeah.
and this
Yeah.
and then that was that. That was that. I said, so I and then when I did start this, I says, if they ever ask me, I'm gonna tell my one sister, remember that day? I
Hmm.
says, that's what that was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. But then
And
came 2005.
yeah, and your mum was in the car
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah, she was in a car accident, and when I got that call, I remember I was at work, and then my sister called me. She said, "Hey, you got to come to the hospital. She had a real bad accident, and they had to cut her out of the car, and they don't know if she's gonna be okay." I'm like, oh, and I just remember grabbing my stuff, and my heart is beating, like, and I'm getting on the expressway, and I seen another family member go on their car past me. I'm like, oh man, like, oh, and the adrenaline is going, so fast, and I'm like, I'm gonna really have to do this. Like, oh man, like
Yeah.
I really have to do this, And so we went in there, and we were in the hospital room as a family, and they were telling us what they were gonna do. They were telling us that like, hey, like this is gonna go. I want to say she said hour to hour. Don't be surprised if something happens because she has a brain injury. She's bleeding inside her head. And I was
Right.
like, oh, man, okay. Yeah, man, this is going to be tough. And then they brought in a priest came in,
Oh,
chaplain, what have you.
okay.
And so I'm like, I thought to myself, okay, I'm not going to participate in this. And then it says, I'm not going to participate in this fully. I will walk out and, be rude, but I'll just stand there. But I'm not going to there's no need. She's going to be okay. And I'm like, "Phew, man." And
So hang on.
yeah,
So was that you didn't need to do anything?
no, no, I did
Oh,
need to do
you
something.
right.
Yeah, but I wanted to know internally, and that's how I felt like, oh, no, this is going to be a long thing,
Hmm.
but she'll be all right. And I was, "Phew, well, I'm not participating in this prayer thing because, like
Oh, right.
this is
Yeah.
almost like a goodbye prayer,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah. Yeah.
and so forth. And I'm like, yeah, I'll stand here, but like I'm not gonna participate like that because there's this isn't goodbye.
Yeah.
And so that was that. And then once I had my moment with her, once she went into a coma and so forth, and then I thought to myself, I'll have my time with her. I know exactly what to do. Like I knew
Uh-huh.
exactly what to do.
Yeah.
And so they took us out the room. It's like, okay, she's gonna go now. We're gonna do this. We're gonna put the thing in her throat. I forget what that's called. With the
Tracheotomy.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
gonna put a trach in her throat, and they're gonna do this and that. And so, we'll let you guys know. You could sit in the waiting room. And I can remember everybody being sad and so
Mhm.
forth, sad and scared. And pretty much all my family they were crying and so forth. And I'm like, okay. So we'll be okay. And then my one older sister, she asked me, "Hey, what do you think? Like, what do you think?" And I'm like, I says, she'll be okay. Like, it's nothing to worry about. Like, she's
Yeah.
like, what? I was like, Trust me, she'll be okay. Like,
Yeah.
just get a book and we're going to be here for a while and we're going to
Mhm.
be here for a long time for her recovery and stuff like that. But she'll be okay. Like, she's like, she looked at me like, why are you saying it like that? Like nonchalant, like you don't care. And this, that. I says, you just have a knowing. I says, it's, you know, this is a bad deal that we have to be here and she has to be here, but like this isn't, like the end deal or anything like that. I
Yeah.
says, we're just gonna be spending a lot of time here. That's the best I could tell you. And sure enough, my mom was in a coma for a long time, and I would be with her at night. Night meaning like 12 at night to like 6 in the morning, something like
So
that.
you would sit with her?
Yeah, I would sit
Yeah.
her with her while she was in a coma and so forth, and I would do it. I would do
Yeah.
my thing and so forth. And it was a time. It was a long. The experience was. It took a lot of time,
Uh-huh.
but at the same time, that's where I came to know um, all this stuff
Yeah.
that uh, you know that
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 you know.
yeah that that heaven provides, and that
Yeah.
how we're all connected, and all that good stuff, and the things that I seen were like,
What I want to know is when you were there with your mum between midnight and 6 and you were doing the work, did you feel like you were conscious as everything?
yeah,
Like, yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. I felt I felt so good, and I'll go as far as to say I felt so great that I would walk around the ICU
Mhm.
and see who I could help, just because I just said I just need to be in their presence, by
Mhm.
their rooms.
Yeah.
That was that. I
Mm.
went so far as to there is a room that was two doors away from my room, and I seen the guy. I want to say that was maybe a brain trauma unit, ICU unit, just for
Uh-huh.
that floor, that section. It had to be because when I seen this one guy and his wife, he had a tube coming out his head, and you can see the blood coming out,
Okay. Yeah.
and he was like, his eyes are rolling, he's almost unconscious, this and that. And I just told the lady, I was like, hey, you know what? Is there any way I could go ahead and try to help him out? She's like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, I said, I have this special power,
Yeah.
and I think I could help him out.
Yeah.
And she chuckled a little bit, and I remember her standing right next to him, and she's rubbing him. And she's like, "You hear that? You hear that? He wants to help you. He wants to help you." I said, "Hey, it won't take long." I says, "I could come back. We could do it later on." I said, "I just need to sit here for a few minutes or so
Yeah.
forth." I said, "I think." She's like, "Well, I don't know. I don't know if you could do that." She says, "He's been in here for I want to say about a year and so many months. And
Wow.
she's like, yeah, I want to say, she said, Georgie. She says, yeah, my Georgie, he's been here for a while and this and that. She's like, yeah, but you know what? Go ahead.
Go
She
ahead.
said, go. She said, do you need to do anything? I said, no, I just need to sit down.
Yeah.
And she's, oh, really? Hey, well, if we have nowhere to go but up, if whatever works, I mean, like, I'll try anything at this point.
Mhm.
I said, man, why don't people think like that? Like, why don't people think like that?
Yeah.
Try anything,
Anything.
especially
Yeah.
if you're at the end of the road,
Uh-huh.
try it out.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
as long as it's
I
good,
agree.
or yeah, as long as it's good, as long as it's nothing that's gonna hurt you or harm you or
Yeah.
anybody else,
Yeah.
give it a shot.
Yeah.
Um, so I did go back in there later, and I sat down, and I came out of it, and she's like, "What did you see?" I says, "I just seen him get better." I says, "He had nice white light all over his body, especially his head, and this and that." I says, miracles happen. I said, miracles happen. I says, that doesn't mean it's because of me. I says, it's just what comes through me. That's what it is. So this
Yeah.
is it. It's not me as I described it to her. I says, it's
Mm.
what comes through me.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, ah, she says, okay, well, we'll see. And so I left it at that. I said, okay, cool, thanks. And she went back by her husband. Hey, this guy's gonna get you better. He's gonna get you better. This and that. And then you could go back out and go and do whatever you want. And that was it. She's like, okay, thanks. No problem. I said, yeah, I'll be two doors down if you ever need anything. You ever want to say
Yeah.
anything. She was like, okay, thank you, appreciate it, blah blah blah. And I never went back there again. Never went back there again. But months later, my mom went to the rehab after then because she had to learn how to talk again.
Uh-huh.
She had to learn how to speak, right?
Wow.
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how bad the brain was.
Yeah.
Uh, so that rehab was connected to the hospital, but on the next block.
Yeah.
And so a couple months later, I go to the rehab, and as I go in the elevator, them two come out. She looked at me like, "That's him, that's him."
I've
She
got
says, "That's
goosebumps
him."
again.
Yeah, she says, that's him. And her eyes got watery like in a snap. She's like, that's him, dude. That's him. And he's walking. Oh, you could tell, he had the brain injury too. He wasn't that fast, but like he was good. He was good.
Yeah.
He's, oh, thank you. He gave me a hug. He says, he did this, this and
Yeah.
that. Like, I'm like, well, I didn't do it. I says, I'm just part of it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
You did it, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Because the day you did that, everything changed, right there on that same day. They said, this went up and this changed, this changed, this
Oh
changed.
gosh.
And I was like, well, it's not me. I kept on,
Yeah, yeah.
that I normally do it like, oh, it's not me, but like I was glad to, go ahead and try to help you guys.
Yeah.
And so she's like, anytime you get a chance, you come to my restaurant. We're on 147th and Kedzie and blah blah something like that. And then she's like, we want you to come. Please, will you come? This and that. Give me your phone number. I said, oh no, 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 no. I said, no, no need, no need, no need. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
She said, you better come. I'll find you. She said,
Yeah.
we're gonna find you. And what floor is your mom on? I was like, uh-oh. No, 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 don't worry about it. No, that's okay. I was like, oh my God, what if they start coming here and try to find me? That's not.
Right.
No.
So you had a lot of fear about being found.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
About intensive care, working in intensive care. I remember after the TV show, a lady in Canada found me and rang like one night. And I don't know what made me pick the phone up. And she said, oh, Julie, can you help my mum? She's in Bulgaria. She's in intensive care. She's been there for 10 days and they don't know what's wrong with her. And I said, well, you ask your mum if I have permission to do something. And so she called her mum and said, yes, you have permission. And I tuned into her mum and I saw a movie about light and this process. And I just watched the movie. Like, I didn't do anything. I just watched it doing this thing with her. And the daughter rang me the next night and she said, oh my God, Julie, what did you do? My mum woke up the next morning and she was completely better and they sent her home.
Oh, wow. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That,
so I guess where I'm a little bit different is I remember the movie that I see, and I then have started teaching the movies that I see to other people, and they're doing the movies and they're getting the results as well.
well, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I was
yeah, yeah.
wondering if you've ever thought to teach the work that you do.
No, I mean, people do often ask me,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, I just like, I never thought about, teaching, even though they do ask me, and I was like, well, I don't know where to start to teach you. I
Yeah.
said, it's just something, it just comes, it's nothing I asked for. I said, so like, I don't know. I said, I could tell you what I see.
Mhm.
Um, that's about all I could do,
Can
and
I make a
maybe
suggestion that
yes.
you document what you see? Write down what you see and just keep it in a journal. And then if you see that same movie again, document what the outcome is. That's what I did. I just started documenting the movies that I would see. And then I would ask myself, well, what if I do that again? And what result will I get? And that's how you can create a body of work from what you've been doing since you were a kid. But what I want to share with you is when you've been telling some of your stories, particularly like the man in the intensive care, particularly when you have done some stuff with people that had amazing results, I see the light in the video of the light actually coming out of your head. I'll do it like this, like radiating out. I can see that with my eyes.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's definitely and it's like a pulse, like a frequency ripple. And it's not stationary, but it's going like this. It's in an expansion. So definitely something is happening when you tune into that frequency.
Yeah, yeah, and that's definitely how I feel.
Uh-huh.
Uh, yeah, it just feels like that throughout my whole body,
Yeah.
and I just feel like this whole ray of white light just covering my body like this, like
Yeah.
I'm just this body of light just walking through, and so forth.
See, when you just did that, it just flashed right across the entire screen. You just moved your hand and you said, I'm walking through. It was like whoosh. We just got to see that on the screen, the white light walking through.
Oh man, I wish I could see that.
So you
I mean,
will,
I see it
because you'll
internally.
get to watch the video. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
cool, cool.
We're going to publish the video as well. So you will
Okay,
get to
cool.
see it.
Oh,
And
that'd be good.
so look, we've been talking for 50 minutes and
Oh, that felt
I
like
know we've been
10
telling
minutes,
stories
15
and
15 minutes. Yeah, because there's more, but
I
you know.
know, Xavier, I think that I would like to have you back on another episode and we go and we talk more. I think
Sure,
that
sure.
our community, both our communities will like to know more. And um, I have so enjoyed talking with you because I
Likewise.
can see similarities. And I wanted to like just loop back to you as a 5-year-old and you had that first moment. I had my first moment as a 5-year-old.
Oh, did you? Oh,
I
cool.
did, and I've got goosebumps. I
Oh,
was
man.
in a little Methodist church, and I used to go to Sunday school, but we were allowed into the church this day for a baptism. We got to watch a baptism, and there was the door at the back, the sun was shining in, and we were singing this song, Telephone to Glory, oh what joy divine, you can talk to Jesus on the royal telephone line. They were the words. And I was sitting there having this moment of awe because I could see the dust particles in the light, and it was like I was conscious as everything. I was the light. I was the everything. And to be told as a 5-year-old that I could talk to Jesus whenever I wanted to, that was like the biggest gift. And I have so that was nearly 60 years ago.
Wow.
And that moment has defined everything that I've done since. And so, look, I don't go to church, but my church is in here.
Same here.
Yeah, that's so
Same
cool.
here. Same here.
Yeah,
Yeah, even if I did go or when I would go, um, yeah, I could hear what's wrong and right,
mm,
if I do go. And, so that's, yeah, I could go, but like everything bounces back and forth. No, no, that's wrong. Yeah,
mm,
okay. Yep, yep, nope, nope, no. So
yeah, yeah. So Xavier, we'll wrap up. So if
okay.
people want to find you, where can they go?
You could actually go to my website.
Yeah,
It's xavierroman.com. That's XAVIERROMAN.com.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, and then you'll see all my links to go to
Awesome.
my other social media and so forth. You can see the videos and the short
Yeah,
videos and the long videos on YouTube and so forth. You
beautiful.
could see all that
And
stuff.
we'll
Yeah,
put all of that in the description as well.
sure,
And
sure.
I would love to have you back if you'd like to come back and have more of a chat.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll leave it off here at the my mom's accident coming out
Yeah.
rehab. Yeah,
And
yes.
how is she? Is she still with us?
Yes, yes, definitely. Yeah,
That's
she's still with
fantastic.
she takes no medications. Yeah, she takes no medications. Actually, right now she's taking antibiotic because she had like a little
Something.
infection and so forth.
Yeah.
But tomorrow's her last day. It was only a 3-day thing. But she doesn't take any long
Long
term
term.
so forth. Yeah.
And I've
Yeah.
got one more question. How do your family feel about what you're doing now?
You know what? They don't say nothing to me about it. They don't say nothing.
That's awesome.
My oldest sister, she does say stuff and she keeps up with me on social media.
Yep.
She's the only one. Um, because I did tell her what I was gonna do, but I told her in a joking fashion what I was gonna do like the other year, a couple years ago.
Yep.
I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this and so forth. I'm gonna do it online, and so forth."
Yeah.
I said, "Here, let me give you a little
Experience.
example." I said, "Turn around, turn around." She turned around. I said, I put my hand like right on her neck. I said, "Where does it hurt? Where does it hurt?" And I went like that, and then whoa, she's like, ugh. I said, "What's wrong?" She says, "I felt this it started getting warm on my neck and my spine and this and that." I says, "Hey, come on, that was only a couple of seconds. You should have let me, really, do it."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, how does your neck feel?" She's like, "Oh my God." She said, "My hairs are all standing up and this and that." Like, "Oh my God." She's like, I said, "How does your neck feel?" She's like, "It's better." I was like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." I said,
That's
"Well, you
awesome.
got a sample." Yeah. So she's asked me again, to help
Yeah.
her
Yeah.
whatnot.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up and I will be in touch. And thank you so much for joining me on Let's Chat with Julie Lewin.
thank you as well. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
Alrighty. You have a good day.
Thank you for tuning into this insightful episode of Let's Chat with Julie Lewin and our special guest, Xavier Roman. As we explored how his journey unfolded from a 5-year-old through to now as an adult with a family of his own, we unpacked some little adventures that kept him exploring and growing and developing his skills. And our episode goes all the way through to when his mum was in a severe car accident and was in hospital and what he did to help her. So thank you for joining us. And we hope you found something in this episode that was really valuable and gave a little spark of hope or light or encouragement for you to explore your journey. Now, if you enjoyed the episode, we would love for you to like and follow our podcast wherever you listen, and so it can get into the hands of those who need it most. Also, your insights help shape the direction of our podcast. So if you've got any questions or ideas, please share them with us wherever you watch our episode. See you in the next one. Bye.